Hey, my name is Roman, aka YoungBizWhiz, and even though today is April Fool's, today's video is not a joke. Yes, you see the title correct. Trump is implementing more tariffs, and it's not against Canada, it's not against China, and it's definitely not against Mexico. This time he's trying to implement tariffs on Europe, the EU as a whole. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about what you might have missed out on. And if you're interested in the tariff war, let me get you right back into it. My name is YoungBizWhiz, aka Roman, and let me talk to So, first things first. Today is April Fool's Day. Hopefully you guys had some good pranks. Tomorrow is Liberation Day, or so they claim. Basically, April 2nd is when Trump is going to implement these tariffs onto Europe, the EU, and it's apparently going to be about a 20% tax depending on the goods and services of whatever he's going to tax on Europe. Now, if you don't remember, Trump has originally started taxing China with the tariffs, and then he hit Canada and Mexico.
We'll be announcing the tariffs on Canada and Mexico for a number of reasons. Number one is the people that have poured into our country so horribly and so much. Number two are the drugs, fentanyl, and everything else that have come into the country. And number three are the massive subsidies that we're giving to Canada and to Mexico in the form of deficits.
And then he's kind of fallen back on some of the tariffs, to make it more reasonable or whatever. But in general, the idea behind Trump and the tariffs is that American, manufacturing has kind of been lost, and that we need to reclaim some of our, independency. And he reiterates this one more time by saying America needs to be more self-sufficient. And honestly, the stats don't lie. America has become a very consumer-based country with over 300 million people. We as a nation in America spent over 70% of America's GDP in just 2024, the fourth quarter of last year. So America spends a lot of money. We're a consumer-based nation. I think a lot of people can agree with that. And with us losing our manufacturing, Detroit, Michigan, it's kind of embarrassing, I could say, because I remember in the 1900s, it was like America's big. We're big on manufacturing things. It was about the manufacturing. You work at a factory job. You made good money. It was this and that. Now it's just making good money. You can't even find a manufacturing job in America unless you get super lucky. So with that in mind, it's just kind of become a joke that America is a manufacturing country, and Trump is trying to make us more self-sufficient. That is basically the whole point of these tariffs. And I did a little bit more diving, but personally I did a little bit more of a deep dive into seeing what's going on with the American tariffs and services and why Trump is doing this. And the more I kind of looked into it, these tariffs did not seem very friendly to us in the first place. It doesn't seem like America impose as many tariffs as I thought they did on other countries compared to other countries did on us. So I can kind of see how, in my opinion, if there was ever a trade war, we were definitely losing it. And America was definitely not protecting the interests of the people, or our interests of taxpayer money. So if that was the idea and that was what helped us get cheap stuff from Temu, then yeah, it's working. But it doesn't seem like it was beneficial to us with these trade tariffs put on our products, and then whatever we put on them if we did put a tariff on them. So now that, the idea that Trump is trying to make back losses with new tariffs, it seems crazy to me. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not an expert in importing and exporting goods, but to try to get money back from bad trades and deals, that doesn't seem like such a winning argument. Oh hey, you were making so much money off of me, and now I get to make some money off of you to recoup my losses. If you have the power, they'll listen, but if you don't have the power, then who really wants to listen, right? So what really got me interested in making this video was the fact that it talked about Europe and tariffs, obviously, but specifically one country in particular, and it's the fact that they were talking about Ireland for this article. It says that Ireland is expecting severe losses from these tariffs on Judgment Day, or Liberation Day, on April 2nd. And at first I was like, no way, they're talking about Ireland out of all countries. I'm actually part Irish, if you didn't know. Fun fact, this is not an April Fool's joke. And the fact that they talked about Ireland really threw me off. I was just like, why Ireland out of all countries? Is Ireland going to suffer the most out of the European trading? So here are the facts of the case, okay? Ireland has about $70 billion worth of imports come into America in 2024. And that accounts for 1/3 of their total exports across the world, okay? So $70 billion come into America. It's 1/3 of their, export totals, which is about $200 billion. And they are expecting about a $20 billion loss based off the export or the import, tariffs by Trump. And if we just do these numbers correctly, $20 billion is about like 10% of their total exports, right? Because 200 billion, 20 billion, yeah. So it's about 10% of their total exports being lost. And just to be clear, when people make money in the stock market or whatever, making 5%, making 6%, making 7%, making 8% in the stock market on any year is considered pretty good. If you lose money, you're obviously not doing the best, but if you lose double digits, because 10% is double digits, it is considered really, really bad, okay? And you can only lose 10% 10 times, right? If you lose 100, like out of $100, if you lost $10 every time, it's only 10 times until you lose everything, right? So losing 10% is not a very ideal thing for Ireland. And as someone that's Irish, like, hey, part Irish, my bad, I'm only part Irish. I could see how that could suck really bad. But it's not just Ireland. Everyone in Europe is struggling, or I want to say struggling, or I want to say more panicking. But it's not just Ireland. Europe in general is panicking, and panicking might be a strong word, but everyone has their eyes on this situation and on Liberation Day. And it seems that America really is gung-ho on putting these tariffs on them with Trump in office. And personally, like, what do you guys think? Do you think that America's doing the right thing by implementing more tariffs on Europe? I mean, I never thought that was just going to end with just China, Canada, and Mexico. Like, those are just countries bordering us, and China is its own superpower that Trump has been fighting for years now, even from his first election in office. So, I mean, if we're really going to fight the whole tariff thing, it just made sense that eventually Europe was going to have to get strung along into this conversation. But, I mean, do you think it's fair? Do you think it's right? I already see that Europe is taking precautions and getting ready to create their own tariffs on America. I'm already seeing some of these goods that get exported from America into Europe that are worth about $30 billion. And it seems that Europe is going to try to copy the tariffs that America has imposed on Europe onto American products. And overall, it does not seem like it's going to be a good time. And I mean, once again, do I think it's a right thing to cause another trade war? I mean, let's look at the facts here. Like, America's not winning really the trade war at all when it comes to products overall, and we're very lax when it comes to exporting and importing goods. Now, because of that, companies that used to, be successful, are being taken over by, Temu, TikTok Shop, and whatnot. And if you try to make like products in America, there's a very, very less likely chance that you're gonna be successful if you're doing it all American based versus if you get help with supplies and goods from other countries like China, Vietnam, Bangladesh, etc. And hey, I think it's just a showing of the times changing, America being a powerhouse. They say that a powerhouse switches every century. And it's right around the new century where America falls out of being a powerhouse. Not saying that they won't be, still great or good, but in general, once you start falling out of the 100-year time frame, that's when a empire, falls out of being the dominant country in the world, and then someone else takes over. And personally for me, I think it's still going to be China, which is still kind of my hot take for 2025. But it's always kind of been like China's going to be the next, emerging superpower. But hey, 我能讲一点. But hey, 我能讲一点中文, but it's not the greatest. And I think that, if China really is going to be the next superpower, it wouldn't hurt to learn some Mandarin. But hey, what do you guys think about the whole trading situation? Do you think it's fair? Do you think Europe is right to retaliate? Do you think it's going to be a lot crazier than people think? Let me know in the comments below your opinions. My name is Roman, aka YoungBizWhiz, and this is another episode on the Trump tariff trade war, the return. Take care, have a great day, peace.